and it just pulls its head back with the mouth open again and snaps forward again, and another baseball-sized chunk of meat gone. Every 2.5 seconds, snap.
I'm standing at the end of the line there, Coey. Only if you bright lights, and in the shadows of the garbage tunnel and rotting carpet on the floor, I saw movement.
Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day of me yammering into a camera and microphone for 20 minutes. Thumbs up and thank you very much for coming along with me on this journey of exploration. With my mental conditions, I am a talker, even though I am socially withdrawn, awkward, and don't know how to deal with other people. If I can't talk, I clog up inside. Plus, of course, I am recovering from the death of my wife, still. Oh boy, we were in a tight orbit together before she died, and it's been rough. But I've made it, and I continue to survive on a daily basis. Thank you very, very much for coming along with me. Definitely a good thing. And of course, front-loading of videos. Hey, if you could toss me a like if you like what you hear and see, that'd be cool. And if you could subscribe to the channel, if you haven't already, that too would be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, that would be very, very cool. I read every single one of them. I answer as many as my executive dysfunction will allow. Definitely a cool thing. And I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful and literally awesome people help to keep me alive. I am on disability. I cannot work. I am broken physically and mentally. And without these people, I would be hosed like a Christmas monkey, living on the streets, and, well, I wouldn't live very long after that. If you would like to help me survive, there are links to my Patreon in the video description below. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, there's an Amazon wishlist link. Well, a PayPal link. And if you'd like to help me out without sending money at all, there is the Amazon wishlist link with stuff like cat food on it. So thumbs up for that. And front loading of videos over. Yay. Yesterday was a day. Not a whole lot happened. Literally, not a whole lot happened. My housemates are kind of ill while being, loud at the same time. They're younger. They're under 30. They're getting older too. I mean, we've been friends for like 7 years now. So they're like approaching 30 here soon. Yay. Life is life. But yeah, just surviving, and that's a good thing. It was warm yesterday, but not too warm. It's supposed to hit the 80s today. So mid-afternoon, or when it starts to get warmer outside, then I'm going to have to shut the window so that the hot air just doesn't come in and keep the cooler inside air circulating. So thumbs up on that. So I slept, and in fact it was really, really nice, because for the first time in a very long time, I had just gotten myself all prepared and my kitty cat jumped up on top of me. And so I rolled over on my side and she curled up. And then when I woke up, hours and hours and hours later, about 5:30, she was still there. So that was really, really cool. It was nice having my kitty cat sleep up again me during the nighttime. Usually she doesn't. So it was nice. And little Ghost here is still being a good little hamster running around. He was up and drinking earlier this morning, so I say good morning to him. Thumbs up for that. They do not live long. Generally, 2 years is a long time for them. I cannot remember when I got this little fellow from my housemates, but when animals get older, you can feel their bone structure underneath their meat. Like Amelia has a lot of sharp spots on her spine, and I can feel her hip bones. Well, I can't on the hamster. He's still got meat covering him, and so you can't really feel the bones underneath. And so he's going to be with us for a while, barring anything horrible happening, which can happen. I have had plenty of times when hamsters have just seemed healthy, and then the next day they were gone. Life is life. Past that, just surviving, of course. Did my walkies up to Walmart. That's a good thing. I played video games. That's a very good thing. Again, for me, with my executive dysfunction, with my time blindness, being able sometimes to fit actual video games into what I do during the day is trying to well, take a vacation when you don't have time. It's not a wonderful feeling because mostly when I can't and there's no time, there's nothing I can point to and say, I did this, and say that's the reason. No, there's just, again, time blindness where I blink, 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 and 3 hours have gone by and it feels like 5 minutes. So I got some video games done, and again, oh my god, the game Astroneer. I enjoy the game Astroneer. I timed it by looking at my clock. It takes 5.5 minutes for the game from click on the icon to make it load up to you can actually play. I hate waiting like that, and I don't know why it takes that long. Same with No Man's Sky, except it's gotten better, but it used to be, if I was going to load up No Man's Sky, I was in for a good 8-minute loading time. Games like that, yeah, I don't load them up very often, because I don't like just sitting there and waiting for 8 minutes, so joy on that. So I've been surviving. I've been as creative as I can, and I'm going to try and spend more time talking about that as well, because I have, of course, been following my creativity on all the various settings that I have, and right now, for whatever reason, I have really clicked in and honed in because of the song Going Under by Devo that really just, it inspired so much in the cryptid setting that the entirety of now this Pol Pot Park and King Mike and Jerry with all this, all the various cryptids, I have learned more about this setting in just the past week or some than I have during all the previous months. Just, I have hyper fixated on it, and I enjoy that. Very, very cool. But yesterday I did a bit of talking about one of the cryptids and the situation because, as a quick reminder, 100 and some odd years ago, Thomas McGregor, who had a mansion, very rich fellow, in the town of Brookerton, South Carolina, was doing very bad things to a lot of people. There was much blood, much suffering, much death. He was eventually gotten rid of. People got tired of this. And even though he was rich and powerful, a bunch of people descending on your house with pitchforks and torches, well, they dragged him out, and he wasn't alive for much longer after that. A few days afterward, there started to be attacks on the cryptid people, and for the next 2 years, it got worse and random with no apparent source except for the McGregor Mansion, which a foundation had been set up to maintain, just to let the whole place rot. Now, 100 and some odd years later, this presence that exists in the mansion has been tamed by King Mike, a ghoul. Now, I had said yesterday that he solved a puzzle to try and get this thing to be fixed. Well, what happened, what the puzzle is, and I knew what happened yesterday, but it's enough that I would have not been able to talk about anything else. All of these attacks were driving people further and further away from this entire area, because the closer you got to the presence, the worse the attacks and the more frequent. But even pulling away and moving further and further out wasn't stopping anything completely. There were still people being killed at random by this. Mike, a ghoul, decided that something had to be done. This couldn't work. No one else was doing it. He figured he was gonna die, went into the mansion on the cryptid level, where of course they exist. Now, this is a ghoul that eats decaying human flesh, of course, more of a classical ghoul that they used to write about. The greener the meat, the better. So, yum on that. But they went into the mansion, downward, 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 into rooms that were only in the cryptid mansion, and then even further downward to where these labyrinthine dirt tunnels. But before the labyrinthine dirt tunnels, he discovers the source of this presence, and it is a presence with no mind or body. But it is a thing, not a being. It is like a machine that has a system of self-refueling. And when it gets down low enough, it self-refuels. And in this case, it zaps someone outside, charges up a bit more, and then slowly through existence, the charge goes down again. And then zap, charge back up. And that's why it's been doing that. When Mike finds the presence, he doesn't know what to do with it. It's a disembodied presence in a room. But these labyrinthine tunnels are opened up, and he follows the tunnels, and eventually they lead into the cemetery of Brickerton, and he digs out through the dark, dirty tunnels underneath a glowing coffin. And inside of the coffin, glowing with corpse light and cryptid light, is the undecayed body of Thomas McGregor. Body with no mind or presence. So he drags the body back to the presence, and they snap together. This feeling is heard throughout the area like a bass drum that's deep enough that you feel it more than you hear it. Boomf! The attacks stop. But that's not the end of it, because the body, reunited with presence, still no mind. As a machine, it is happy enough to do nothing and sit there and just run on idle or be used. It has no mind to control it, just presence and body. Because Mike was there, Mike is attuned to this. And of course, well, I'll get to that part, because he discovers it needs to be fed. When being attuned to it, he can feel this thing's hunger. In desperation, because he could feel this hunger, sort of a I'm hungry now sort of feeling. The only thing that they could think of was opening up a door in one of these labyrinthine tunnels close to where this room is, and it opens up on a street. Reaches out, grabs a person, drags him back, throws him into the room with the body. And as soon as that door shuts, the eyes just snap, look. Stands, walks over, picks up the screaming person who's trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and just like a machine, mouth opens, head juts forward, and snap, jaws close, and a mouthful of meat the size of a baseball is gone with a lot of blood. And it just pulls its head back with the mouth open again and snaps forward again, and another baseball-sized chunk of meat gone. Every 2.5 seconds, snap, snap, snap. It doesn't take long before screaming turns to whimpers, and before whimpers become silent, and then the only sound is the sound of teeth snapping together and the spattering of fluids on the floor that the body is standing on. And it's not too many bites before snap, snap, snap. There's no person left. And its hunger is satiated. So Mike, attuned to this, knows that he didn't stop anything. He has to feed this thing, or it will start feeding itself again. He didn't do anything but become its caretaker. He has no ill will toward human beings. At worst, he feels neutral, and at best, he has had several human friends that he has been honored to have been considered one of their friends. So he's a negative cryptid, but not an exceptionally negative one, because he does not need to kill. He just eats decaying human flesh. And now he's in charge of this thing. And for the past 30 years, because of this attunement over the past 100 and some, more of what this thing is capable of is becoming available to Mike. Mike is horrified because this thing is intensely powerful. The more he learns, the more attuned he becomes. The more attuned he becomes, the more he can access. The more he can access, the more attuned And oh boy. But as horrifying as what this thing would allow him to do, what really keeps him awake is the thought of what would happen if someone with fewer ethics and morals than he has gets control of this thing. So King Mike, for the past 30 years, has had no one to talk to. He dares not tell anyone about what is going on because he doesn't want people attacking to try and take control of the presence. Right now, everyone feels sorry for King Mike because he has told everybody it has presence and body, but because he was present when it became one, his mind is a part of this trio. And it doesn't happen all the time, but he has to fight mentally to keep control of this thing. And he's only 1/3, so it is a horrible fight. Everyone feels bad for Mike, and everyone is like, oh gosh, he's the only one keeping us safe. He doesn't have that fight. That's just the story so that nobody else wants his job. He doesn't want it, but he doesn't want anyone else to have it even more. So that's why King Mike is king of Pol Pot Park. Where the only things he asks for, again, is respect, for people to provide food for his humans and other types who need real non-decaying human corpse food, the occasional body. Well, every time you find a human or cryptid corpse, you need to send it to King Mike. You know, if you need to eat, whatever's left, you send. And then occasionally, you provide the non-living. Well, no, that's not the non-living. You provide the living bodies that King Mike asks for. Because Mike has to feed the presence under the estate. And of course, I have opened up 24 hours worth of comments on my community tab. I'm going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count American Sign Language, well, ADHD and all sorts of stuff. Yay. I have a laundry list of issues. But I mean, I live amongst human beings, so it's not like I'm an alien or anything. We have Big Rob, thumbs up, and thank you very much. Jesse Koskinen, always good to see you in the comments, my friend. Insignificant Nick, I hope that what I've talked about in the cryptid world today is good for you. We have JAYY, thank you very, very much, and it is appreciated and good to see you in the comments. Adrian, thumbs up, thank you, and I'm glad that it's entertaining, but boy, was I just ready to. It was not fun when I discovered that there was no commentary track for my Daggerfall recording. Oh, my mood took a downhill plunge. But good to see you in the comments. We have Jessica Caleno, I think that is pronounced, but thumbs up, thank you very much. And yes, PlayStation 1 Doom is very cool. I actually have it for the PlayStation 1 on disc. I don't play it very often, but it is cool. And then there is George Manchester, greatly appreciated. Dark World, who I have sort of changed some of my views on Boy in a Band's like Drop Out of School or whatever the name of the song was. I still think people need an education, and whether there are some things we should learn no matter whether or not it's going to help us in the world, but and then there's Upperson 1805, thumbs up, thank you very, very much. And Confused Owl 29, good to see you in the comments. There is Loco 5, thumbs up, thank you very, very much. And hey, it'll be cool to see a postcard from you, greatly appreciate it. Tony Bennett, thumbs up, thank you very, very much. We have Ben B, thumbs up, thank you. And that is it. 13 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Thumbs up and thank you. For a short time, you get me out of my head, into the world, and dealing with real people, if only in text. It is appreciated. And it is. I have mentioned that with my various issues, I have ADHD, I am socially awkward, I am socially withdrawn, I have social anxieties. Dealing with people face to face is largely not fun for me, but life is life. I deal with people the way you have to deal with people. Thumbs up. I am separate, but not isolated. I am alone, but not lonely. Thumbs up for that. Today is Sunday, so I'm just going to take it easy today. I'm going to do some editing for my one video. I'm going to play some video games. I'm going to download. I'm going to listen to some music. I am going to be as creative as possible, and I'm going to try and stay cool in this heat. Hopefully, you can do the things that you would like to do as well. That would be very, very cool. And of course, with pandemics and bugs out there, please, especially with the Covfefe bug still raging, still killing, be as smart as you can for your appropriate situation. Don't go tossing your body or anybody else's body onto the end-of-life corpse pile before you have to. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is a very good thing.